Okie dokie. So, a quick short video here right now. I wanted to go over the free Bitcoin NFTs that some of y'all may have received, I think much earlier in the year, possibly late last year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't remember. However, I am the recipient of many of these free NFTs. Now, these are also called inscriptions on Bitcoin. They are, images, JPEGs, GIFs, whatever, you want to call them. There's different, variations of, there's actually a game. One of them is like a Pong game on Bitcoin, which I think is kind of interesting. But I'm just going to go over the free ones that if you were an early inscriptor, somebody that created an inscription on Bitcoin and put it into a wallet somewhere, you received these NFTs. And the first one being this rune stone. So I created some inscriptions because I wanted to have permanent pictures of, things that were very important to me on the Bitcoin blockchain that could never ever be erased. I'm somewhat regretting a little bit of that because they can never ever be replaced, but at the same time, it's still pretty cool to me to have to because they can never ever be replaced. They'll be there forever. It's like looking at a certain series of numbers with a certain lens, sort of like putting on 3D glasses and being able to see, objects in a different manner. So that's basically how inscriptions are on the Bitcoin blockchain. It's just a series of numbers that are ordered in a specific way so that you can, under the right view, you can see these images on the Bitcoin blockchain. There are, obviously Ethereum, Solana, and, some of these other cryptos, do a lot of NFTs. And, that's great. But it took a long time for Bitcoin to get its own NFTs, which, a lot of people didn't really like. And I was, skeptical about. But, if it creates value on Bitcoin, then that's ultimately good for me and good for everyone else that holds Bitcoin. So what I wanted to do is just basically kind of go over how these NFTs have gone since their inception. So I have here the runestone so I guess it was earlier this year that they handed these out, back in May and April, or February and April. So the runestone was the very first one, which, this isn't the actual image of the runestone. I don't have that pulled up here, right? But if you are an owner of one of these things, it's kind of a cool, it has this inscription image on it. And it's just a 3D image that you can, manipulate. It kind of spins around. It's kind of, shiny and looks cool, but it has value. Now, some may say, well, it's been a failure because, the price for this is down from nearly zero point 0.1 Bitcoin all the way down to 0.008 Bitcoin. But let's remember that you received all of this for free if you created 3 inscriptions when inscriptions were when they had first arrived. You had about a year, and the snapshot was taken of the wallets that had inscriptions in them, and you were a recipient of these NFTs. Now, don't be so upset that the price has gone down. Since these have been released, the price of Bitcoin has gone up. So roughly, this has maintained some of its same value over the past, 6-8 months, something like that. So the runestone is at 0.008 Bitcoin. That was the first one that people received when the runes were first created. Runes are inscriptions on Bitcoin. It's just a different style of NFT. I'm not exactly sure about all the differences between inscriptions and runes, but I know that runes are specifically different from inscriptions. I'm not entirely sure how. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a computer scientist. I work in construction. So this is I've been in Bitcoin since 2017, but there are things that still blow me away that I have no idea how they operate or what goes on with them. So, always make Bitcoin your first purchase, but let's go over the rest of these NFTs. So the first one being Runestone at 0.008, and it's down like 90% since they first came out. And I believe that the second one was this Dog Go to the Moon NFT, and it's basically just Doge for Bitcoin. Doge is a copy of Bitcoin as a joke, and it is basically Doge is the first joke meme coin, and it has value. And I think mainly because Elon Musk tends to talk about Doge, his dog is named Doge or something like that. He wants to use Doge as a currency. I'm pretty sure he has a large position in Doge, otherwise he wouldn't be saying all those things. So his influence doesn't seem to have a whole lot of effect on the price recently, and it really doesn't have any effect on Dog Go to the Moon's price. And it is also down quite a bit since June. Down, let's see, about again about 80% since June. Not great. But again, we have to remember that if you did nothing and all you did was create or own 3 inscriptions for about a year after which they were created, you got all this for free. So let's not knock free money. The second one that people received along with Dog Go to the Moon was Lobo the Wolf Pup. Now, I don't know anything about these projects, and I think I can't remember the guy's name that created Dog Go to the Moon, but I've watched a couple of his videos, and he's kind of an interesting character. He's says what he wants, but he did a cool thing in creating the Runestone and then Dog Go to the Moon for free. It cost him, he fundraised the money. It cost like 8 Bitcoin or something like that to process this transaction, but it's pretty cool that all this stuff was handed out for free. Let's not forget that. So Lobo the Wolf Pup down like the rest of these, 90%. GameStone, which is like a copy of the Runestone, but in a less graphic manner. It's very like 8-bit, very low I won't say low quality, just a lower resolution, because it has an effect of like shimmers or something like that. It's not just this image, it does move, I guess. But it's currently at $3.18 in USD value, but 0.0001 Bitcoin. So let's hold all this in the back of our heads about potentially what the price of these things are. And then lastly, they had the Runes Ambi, which I don't know anything. It's like a regenerative art sort of NFT, and they all seem to be fairly different. And it's just like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're specific ones probably have more value than the others, but this one's 0.00005. Most of them are 0.00004. But it looks, depending on the eye of the beholder, some of these have more values than others. I'm not going to show you mine. I don't think it's really any different than any of these that you see here. But what I did do is I put together a quick spreadsheet of what the total value of all of these free NFTs are that you received. And I want to show that to you now. So if you have if you never sold any of this stuff, even back when the price was much higher, one Runestone currently about $472, a GameStone about $6, the Runes Ambi about $2.36. Dog Go to the Moon, because everyone received quite a bit. This is the exact amount that you received if you just held those 3 inscriptions when they were first created. And at its current price today, you're looking almost $2,500 for free. Let's not forget that. And then right underneath that is Lobo the Wolf Pup coming in at a strong $75. And so if you add all this up, you're looking at over $3,000 worth of free stuff. Now, whether you could be able to sell this stuff, and actually get $3,000 worth, or if you had sold it at its height and you're a good trader, maybe you made more than that, or maybe you walked out. You can't have a loss because you got all this stuff for free. Because, look, I've even put in a cost basis of $0. You can't shake your head at free stuff. I didn't pay for any of this other than just creating those. Okay, now that I think about it, those inscriptions did cost me a little bit. I remember a couple of them were about $50 because the transaction fees were quite high at the time. I think something like 50 sats per VByte or whatever, and now it's down to like 3 or 4 sats per VByte, which is it's great, but in hindsight, it kind of. Now, I mean, I guess I'm happy that I had paid that because then I wouldn't have, $3,000 worth of free stuff. So I'm not going to knock free things that are given out to people that, may or may not need the money. I am fortunate enough to be able to hold on to this for now. I don't think I will ever sell the runestone, but when Bitcoin's price goes to the moon, the end of this year, early, mid next, late, possibly, who knows? I just think that a lot of these are going to increase in value, or at least maintain their share of, like, let's say, Bitcoin goes to 500,000 or whatever this cycle, and it's still 0.008 Bitcoin for one runestone. So, do that math. So let's just quickly do. Yeah, that's right. You can't see that, but that's, $4,200. Let me make that bigger. $4,000. Sorry, math. Let's not shake our heads at free stuff. Some people will, balk and complain about, this just spam and garbage on the Bitcoin blockchain. Well, these are back down to like 2 and 3, 4, 5 sats per VByte. So, that wave is come and gone, and there's not a whole lot of hype around these runes and inscriptions on Bitcoin right now. We're in a lull, and I think that this is the calm before the storm. And then a lot of people that did not get into runes and NFTs on Bitcoin and, just Bitcoin in general are going to start FOMOing in, fear of missing out. They're going to jump into these projects because they think, the normal average person thinks that these have a lot of value, and, they didn't get the free stuff. So now they're trying to buy in, which is just going to pump the price. I can only hope and think that, this will eventually be a good turnout for those of us that have all this stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that the great thing about Bitcoin is that it's for your enemies. It's for you. It's for everyone that wants. You can't stop anybody from building anything on Bitcoin. So that's what I think is great about it, is that even the people that are upset about all this stuff, they can't do anything about it. If somebody has a project and a will and a way, they will figure out how to create these sort of things on Bitcoin. And, creation has value. Even an artist in the street spray painting, fake space diagrams or images or caricatures of people, everybody has a talent and everybody has a way to create value in this world. And some people chose creating images on the Bitcoin blockchain that cannot ever be erased. They're here to stay. They're here forever. So I just thought that was a good rundown of the stuff that people got for free on the Bitcoin blockchain. If you don't have any of this stuff, I am not one to give advice, but me personally, I'm just not the kind of person that's going to go out and, I take that back. I have bought and created my own runes on Bitcoin. So I can't, I would be a hypocrite if I said that I would not go out and buy stuff, because I bought the uncommon goods one, which will be minted for the next 4 years till the next halving. So, I probably spent like $20, $40 or whatever, minting some uncommon goods that have no cap like Dogecoin, but I just thought it was cool. So I minted some of those, and then I created my own NFT called Max the Magic Pup or something like that. Just an NFT of my mom's dog Max, And I just thought it was fun, so that's why I did it. And it didn't really cost a whole lot or anything. So that's why I did it. And I enjoyed doing it. So, long story short, runes, NFTs, inscriptions on Bitcoin, not a bad thing. If it, gives people value and money, I understand, people want to fix the money, fix the world. And I 100% agree with that. But this is a platform. It's a network. It's a way for value to be transacted, and in many ways more than just one. So just because somebody has Bitcoin doesn't mean that they necessarily want to spend that. This is on Bitcoin that can be spent using Bitcoin. So you send a couple of sats, and this 800,000 plus number of dog go to the moon, potentially you want to sell it all. That's a great thing. It's a great thing for people that need that money. And even if you needed that money, earlier on, maybe this was a break for you and you just happen to own or create, some of your inscriptions back when they were, not super popular, but back when they were first being created, and you were able to walk away with a couple grand extra in your pocket. I remember this was probably around $3,500 about a year ago. I've not really paid too much attention to it, but I just think this is a great thing, and I'm never going to knock, people creating and doing what they do best on Bitcoin. I would rather people create on Bitcoin, use, Ethereum and Solana as test nets, and, Litecoin as a way to figure out how, things can be created on Bitcoin safely. And, take your time. We're not in any rush, and let's not, ruin a good thing just because somebody thought a good idea was cool and it ends up creating havoc on the Bitcoin blockchain. So all that being said, I hope y'all like this video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, do whatever you need to do. I would really appreciate it. I'm just starting this, trying to keep this channel going, not doing so hot, but I'm doing what I can. So that's all we all can do, is just do what you can, live your life. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you in the next time.